Hot topic here on Morning Kick Around. I'm Robert Kerr. He's Jason Davis. Following from our conversation on Monday about the possibility of some big changes coming to college soccer. Yesterday, Jeff Cassou from ESPN FC dropped a big college soccer update. USSF is planning to launch the Next Gen College Soccer Committee. And this is 18 members spanning stakeholders across the industry, from pro leagues to college, to reformat what we consider and how the college system works completely, it seems.
Yeah, this is obviously we discussed a proposal that was leaked. I guess it was a sort of a pitch deck that was bouncing around. We discussed that in a previous video and pondered what it might mean for college soccer. That was before the settlement was approved, House versus the NCAA, which now means that colleges, universities can directly pay athletes rather than having to do this end run around it. I think we did talk about that development recently, and we are going to follow up with some of the legal ramifications around this. But this is fascinating. And JT Batson, who is the CEO of U.S. Soccer, did admit that decision, that ruling, the finalized House deal settlement is part of why they're doing this now. So that quote right there is a pretty big one, Rob, and we discussed this. This is kind of what we thought when we were doing our video. We believe there's an opportunity for college to be the premier U23 league in the world, says JT Batson. Now, there's a lot of steps between now, where we are right now, and that potential achievement. But do you think that does that ring true to you based on what we know about college soccer in this country?
Does it ring true that can you say the question again?
We believe there's an opportunity for college to be the premier U23 league in the world.
Is that possible? Well, I think definitely in certain regards, there's a whole lot of infrastructure and a whole lot of facilities and a whole lot already built into the college world. It's just the way it forms. I definitely think it's almost a powder keg of development possibilities, but it was never formed with the calendar and the way that players are recruited and the way the system works. It's definitely not maximizing the infrastructure that is there. And if done right, I think that that may well be possible. Whether a league that's only U23 and is that useful, we'll see, because a lot of the time overseas, soccer players already move on and long before they get to a 23. So we'll see how the implementation works, but definitely it's great to see that something that is obviously not working to its full potential be addressed by the federation.
Okay, so Luke says, and Luke is a member, shout out to Luke, what a weird way to put it, the premier U23 league in the world. Look, I don't think there's any sense here that there would be limits that you have to be 23 years or younger to play college soccer. I think it's just an acknowledgement that generally players who are playing in the college soccer system are in that age bracket. And again, I think this is more like, well, that thing is sitting over there. Why don't we? It's like you've got the car in the garage and it's got almost everything it needs to run. You just have to do a little bit of work on the engine to get it going, and then it's going to be an amazing car. I imagine what JT Batson is trying to convey here, that there's potential, right? So that, again, you mentioned this. It's called the Next Gen College Soccer Committee, to be chaired by Dan Helfrich, principal at Deloitte Consulting, part of U.S. Soccer's leadership advisory group. You've got Adrian Hanauer of the Seattle Sounders, Seattle Reign, Angie Long, who is co-owner of the Kansas City Current, executives from MLS, NWSL, USL. Representatives of top college programs are on the committee, as is Richard Motzkin, an executive at the player talent agency Wasserman. The group is tasked with making recommendation for college soccer, quote, to thrive in the rapidly evolving soccer ecosystem, unquote, prior to the start of the academic year in the coming months, and working with conferences and college programs, quote, interested in these innovative solutions and opportunities, unquote. The House ruling, and I think we mentioned this on Monday, again, effectively makes college soccer an unsanctioned professional league. Because if the players are going to be paid, right, or any players are going to be paid, it's a professional league now. There was a time, remember this, Rob? There was a time when college players couldn't even be on the field with professional players or on the same team as professional players because that risked their eligibility. So now we're in a place where you are just basically taking what has happened legally and saying, well, we got to do something, because now you're not living in this world where these players are amateurs in it by any measure, by any reasonable definition. They're not amateurs anymore.
They're not even pseudo amateurs anymore, just straight up uh, minor league professionals in this case. And who knows? It seems like in the last week, Texas Tech has become like the minor league leader in paying athletes. So we'll see. Maybe the dynamic of like the power players within college might be turned on its head with this. If some smaller school that didn't necessarily have a storied program wants to throw a bunch of money into that, we'll see. But interesting, before we move on too much, it's funny how the Deloitte and the Wasserman names always get kind of connected into these stories.
Yeah, look, I think it's easy to be cynical about the involvement of some of these people, and shout out to Luke again. Cool. His comment. Imagine if these colleges were learning institutions, not farm clubs for MLS to commercialize, monetize, and monopolize. I don't know why Luke necessarily jumps to that conclusion that this is
Why?
somehow MLS. Well, I mean, look, MLS has got their own development league and an MLS Next Pro. This could obviously be argued to be a competitor to that on some level, certainly for players. And if these players, and I really don't know what the paradigm is for this anymore, right? Like the college sports I grew up watching don't exist. They just don't exist. They sort of nominally are there. Like, oh, that player plays for Wake Forest, or that player plays for North Carolina. Okay. But if he's being paid, again, does he have a scholarship to go to the school? Is he a student athlete, or is he just sort of a contract employee of the college university at this point? I mean, we actually are, and somebody in our comments said this, we actually are trending more to what Mexico did with college sports. Mexico started with teams that were connected to universities like UNAM, right? That's a college. It's a university that Pumas is connected to. But they're obviously a professional outfit now, because eventually they were like, well, we got to pay these guys to be better than these amateur guys. We want to compete with Club America or whoever else is not connected to a university. And now we have this weird stew. We have all these teams. There is a very distinct possibility, by the way, that because of the House ruling, the House settlement, that schools drop soccer, that they drop college soccer completely. And I don't know what that means for players who might have otherwise gone to play college soccer. I don't know what it means for, again, like, can you repurpose those teams as sort of club outfits that still carry the name of the school, but are not necessarily directly under the athletic department? It's all so weird, Rob.
Yeah, there's a local sports jock that says like we've lost cabin pressure, and it's like what is real, what is up, what is down. It's really hard to know. And we'll see how this plays out. But back to the reporting, this committee is tasked with making recommendations for college soccer to thrive in the rapidly evolving soccer ecosystem prior to the start. So this actually clues how quick they're wanting to move. They want to have this happening prior to the academic year of 2026. So pretty much in the next 12 months, the future of college soccer may well be completely different. And part of their task is finding interesting and innovative solutions and opportunities. And outside of the quote in the reporting, they critics of the college soccer world include prominent coaches and administrators from within the game. They argue college game has not kept pace with the modern soccer and fails to prepare players to be professionals. And so that brings it back to, do colleges need to be producing professionals? And then I understand why, but the goal has always been to, it seems in most worlds or most youth programs, the youth program is trying to send their player to college. That's like the dream. That's the sell for many youth programs. Do well here, get a college scholarship.
Well, that's because they're appealing to parents, right? And up until very recently, every parent wants to send their kid off to school, and you would prefer to have them go to a very good school. And if that very good school is cheaper, hey, that's better than having to pay full price, right? Maybe we can't afford to send our kid to Duke, but if our kid can get a college scholarship, an athletic scholarship to go to play a sport at Duke, and soccer is an option there, then why not? It'll show a little aptitude. Little Jimmy Or little Sally showed a little bit of aptitude in soccer. Well, let's give everything we've got to getting them to a place that they can go to a very prestigious college and play soccer, so we don't have to pay full price. Right? That has been the economic engine of youth soccer in this country for the last 40 years, Rob. Right? 40 years.
Yeah.
And now we are now getting to a place where that is being cracked open a bit, because now parents are like, oh, well, maybe my kid gets picked up by an academy, an MLS academy that's nearby. And obviously, and somebody said this when we were discussing, one of our videos, USL teams, the pyramid, the idea that one thought that people who back pro rel have is that if you institute pro rel, it creates more incentive to invest in clubs, particularly in smaller cities and medium-sized towns. And if those teams have academies and they're professionalizing development, they're scooping up more kids. More kids don't fall through the nets. We get better players. We maximize our talent, and maybe we go win a World Cup one day. Now, I don't know that should be the driving force behind your desire to see pro rel. I think we get really close to like exploiting kids sometimes in those areas, and professionalizing 12-year-olds is not something I'm super comfortable with. I know the rest of the world does it, and we feel like we have to do it to keep up, Rob, or we'll never win a World Cup. But this is all kind of stuff we haven't dealt with as American soccer people quite yet.
Yeah, and the big jump in the youth towards professional progression is that 16 to 18-year-old age group. And so like United States youth teams, when they travel overseas, do just fine. They're at the level U16. Once you get to that U18 level, it's an absolute falling off the edge of a table what we do here compared to over there. And so it's funny, you're talking about professionalizing children. It's like, it's odd to say it that in the United States, to make that jump, professionalizing 16-year-olds might be more normalized or need to be normalized.
Yeah, look, every soccer playing nation that cares about the game, or whether it's to win a men's World Cup or whatever, or to keep winning women's World Cups, which we would like to do, you need places for late bloomers. And I don't love the framing of that either, because you're saying if a 21-year-old hasn't made his pro debut, he's a late bloomer. Oh my God, the end of the world. You're not good enough. But every country needs places where players who aren't ready to make that jump or need more time to season can play. And obviously MLS has tried to fill that gap with MLS Next Pro. We got this patchwork of like short season leagues like the NPSL, the UPSL, all trying to do that same work. I'm not saying that I want those to go away, and I certainly respect their right to try to be the leagues that can be what we need at that level. But let's be honest, if the college soccer system, if all of the teams that play under the NCAA's auspices, particularly Division I schools, which have facilities and resources and all those things, if they just said, okay, well, we're going to sort of become that opportunity for players between the ages of 18 and 23, that would be way better, right? That could have the potential and again, you have to figure out scheduling, and you've got what's the money, and will these universities continue to support non-revenue sports in this era of players getting paid? We don't know. But if they did, this could be massive for American soccer's future.
Absolutely massive indeed. And we will continue following this story as it progresses. We will work our utmost to get more resources and maybe even some guests to talk about this subject in greater detail. We have hit 2,500 subscribers. And if you're watching this and if you're not one of those 2,500, do so now. Join the MK Ultras. Become part of the movement, the ever-growing conversation here on Morning Kick Ground. You want to kick it up a notch of your support? $3.99, the membership here on Morning Kick Ground. It gives you early access to videos, gets you bonus content, priority commenting, access to the Discord, and more. You can follow us on social media at mkickground, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Write us an email, morningkickground@gmail.com, or support us outside of YouTube at coffee.com/morningkickground. There you can customize your donation how you see fit. And you can also look us up as a podcast, Morning Kick Ground, on your favorite audio platform.